Good morning, everybody. I hope you all are having a good, Thursday. Um, Good Thursday morning on today. The weather is gloomy, is rainy, I'm sleepy. So without further ado, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started with today's lesson. Today's lesson, we are going to wrap all of this slope stuff up and put a pretty little bow on it because next week I want to jump into factoring and multiplying binomials and all that other fun stuff that's going to be on the GED. So we're going to go ahead and just get started. To anybody that is watching the playback, please make sure that you watch the video in its full entirety and make sure that you are following along, taking your notes. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section, or you can reach out to me if you have my information. And so that way, we just want to make sure that you all are on the same page. All right. So this was our work from yesterday. And what we're going to do is we're simply just going to identify slope and y-intercept. That's all we're going to be doing. And then we're going to be graphing a couple of these on the graph as well. So just stay tuned and stay with us, and everything is good. I have one student here joining me this morning. So Mr. McFadden, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate you. And we just gonna go ahead and get started. Anybody else can just get in where they fit in. All right. So all you had to do for this particular assignment was to identify the slope and the y-intercept. That was it. So remember, when it comes to the slope and the y-intercept, you want to make sure you want to make sure that you are, there we go. You want to make sure that you know which one is which. Okay. So remember, for number one, and this is just an example, this is the slope, and slope is represented by the letter M. And this is your y-intercept, which is represented by the letter B. So slope-intercept formula would be y equals mx plus b. Okay. Now, we talked about, I believe it was on Tuesday or Wednesday, I cannot remember, but please feel free to watch the playbacks all this week on slope because I honestly can't remember. But we talked about how this is the format that you want when you are identifying slope and y-intercept, simply because it is easier to identify. Your slope is represented by the letter M, and your y-intercept is represented by the letter B. So with that being said, Mr. McFadden, I want you to tell me what number, and I kind of gave it away for number one, but what number is the slope and which number is the y-intercept? Uh-oh. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, okay, okay. Can you identify the slope for me in number one?
Um, the slope.
Yes, sir.
Hold on 1 second. The slope is gonna be 703.
Yep. But remember, the number takes the sign, so we got to put that negative with that.
Okay.
So, but yep, that is absolutely correct. And what would be my y-intercept?
The 4.
The 4. All right. So that was no biggie. That was no, that was really easy because number one is already in the format of y equals mx plus b. Now number two, on the other hand, it is not in the form of y equals mx plus b. That means we are going to have to do some manipulation to get it to the format, and I'll rewrite it over here. So that way we'll have it on both sides here. Y equals mx plus b. All right. So Mr. McFadden, do you remember what we would have to do in order to go from this format to this one up here? And if you don't remember, you can say, Miss Hampton, I don't remember. And it's okay.
Keep change.
No, you're okay, I see where you got that from. You're thinking about just finding the regular slope. So what we want to do is we want to identify our slope and our y-intercept, but the problem is the first problem is I can't see my cursor. The second problem is that this negative 4x plus 3y equals negative 6 is not in this y equals mx plus b format. So we have to move some things around to make that happen. Okay, so do you remember what it is that we would have to move around?
You talking about like formula, the formula to find slope?
Well, no, not the formula to find the slope. We're looking at this formula right here, which is the y equals mx plus b.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to identify slope, but the problem is, does this look like this up here? Do they look alike?
Mm, no.
Nope. So the goal is we have to make this equation look like that. So what we would have to do is, you see how y is by itself with the
Yeah.
regular equation. So that's what we want. We want our y to be by itself. But in this particular problem, we have other issues going on, so we have to kind of make some changes. So I don't know if that was a sneeze or not, but bless you. And if it wasn't, still bless you. Um, so what I have to do here is I have to move my negative 4x to this side where the negative 6 is. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to add my 4x on both sides. Okay. Now, remember, and this is for anybody that's also watching this as a playback, you cannot add a negative 6 to a 4x because, again, I'm going to write this up here. They are unlike terms. So you cannot add or subtract unlike terms. Okay? So if you were thinking that this answer was going to be a negative 2x or a 2x or something like that, that's not how that works. Okay? So these are unlike terms. And remember, you cannot add or subtract unlike terms. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I now have okay. So now what I have is, once I cancel these out over here, I'm now going to be left with 3y is equal to 4x minus 6. So, Mr. McFadden, I have another question for you. Does this problem look like y equals mx plus b?
Yes. Talking about the one you just wrote out?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it does, but we still have to do something else because remember, we want y to be by itself. And the
So
problem is we got this. If I can find
the
my
three on it.
cursor. Yes, we got to have y by itself. So that means we're going to have to divide everything by 3 because remember, we want y to be by itself.
Okay.
So anytime we have a number in front of the y, we must divide it.
Okay.
Okay, so when we do this, 3 divided by 3 leaves me with 1. So I'm going to rewrite the new equation over here. So I'm going to have y is equal to something. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now we have this 4 divided by 3. Remember, you want to keep your answer in a fraction. Okay, you do not want to change it to a mixed fraction, or you don't want to change it to a decimal or anything like that. You want to keep it as a fraction. So my answer here would be 4. And good, I heard a ding. I just want to acknowledge the ding that I heard. So good morning to whoever is joining us. I can't see your face,
Good
but
morning, Philomena.
it's Miss
Philomena.
Philomena. Oh
Yes,
yes, hi Miss Philomena. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am well, ma'am. Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. We are going over the worksheet that I emailed on yesterday, Miss Philomena. So we're just only on number 2. So anything that you missed prior to that, the playback video will be up on YouTube. Hopefully it'll be up today, but if not, it will be up first thing tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. So we have 4 over 3. And remember, again, you do not want to literally divide this and change it to a decimal. You want to keep it as a fraction. And then we have negative 6 divided by 3. So what is 6 divided by 3?
2.
2. Okay. So now, Mr. McFadden, this equation looks like the one at the top, and we can now easily identify our slope. So what is the slope for this particular line right here? And I'm looking at this one. Ah, there we go.
Don't know, Miss Hunt.
Okay. So remember, the slope is the number or fraction that's next to the letter x. So what fraction is next to the letter x?
4
Yes,
thirds.
yes, sir. So always remember your slope is going to be the number that's next to the letter x. And that number could be positive, it can be negative, it can also be a fraction that can also be positive or negative. All right. And then what is my y-intercept for this particular equation?
-2.
Yes, ma'am. Very good, Miss Philomena. All right. So just a quick recap. Anytime, and I know I wrote over all of that, but I'm pretty sure we have more problems like this. But anytime you see like x plus y equals something, the goal is we want it in the y equals mx plus b form, simply because it's easier to identify our slope, because remember, slope is represented by the letter m, and it is the number or the fraction that is next to the letter x. And then we have our y-intercept, which is represented by b. And remember, the y-intercept is where the line crosses at the y-axis. We're going to actually graph some of these. So just make sure you all have your papers on standby, because we're actually going to graph some of these linear equations. Because again, on your GED exam, they may give you an equation. They may say y equals 4 thirds x minus 2, and they may say graph it. So I want to make sure that we cover all aspects of slope as it relates to graphing linear equations and making sure that we identifying slope in the y-intercept. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so Miss Philomena, did you get an opportunity? Are you if you're writing down notes, and this is for my class, if you're writing down notes, please let me know because as always, I want to make sure that you get all the notes, and I do not want to move any faster than what I normally do. Just let me know whenever you all are ready for number 3.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, Mr. McFadden. Well, I know you ready, Mr. McFadden. I ain't even gonna be worried about it. Ooh. All right. All right. So can everybody see number 3? Y'all can see number 3, right?
Mm.
Okay. So now we can identify the slope in the y-intercept because it is already in the form. So who can tell me what my slope is for number 3?
2.
2.
Yep, 2. And what is my y-intercept?
-2.
-2. See? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right. Then I'm going to slide over here to number 4. All right. Number 4 is also in the y equals mx plus b format. So this is, this is simple. So what is my slope for number 4?
Slope is 8.3.
Yes, ma'am. My slope is 8/3. And what is my y-intercept?
-5.
-5. Now we cooking with gasoline.
Hmm.
All right. So far so good. Answers.
Yes.
All right. That's what I like to hear. And remember, if you have any questions at any given moment, please feel free to just jump in and be like, Miss Hampton, I got a question. All right. Just want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with slopes and y-intercepts. Now, number 5. Number 5 is real interesting. The question I have is it already in y equals mx plus b? Is it already in that format?
No.
Yeah. Number 5.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, it is.
It is. Because remember, we have y equals mx plus b. So the question I have is, what's my slope?
-1.
Why is it -1, Miss Philomena? You are correct. But why is it -1?
Because the negative x is represented as 1. Thus,
Yes.
no coefficient.
Excellent. Who taught you that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, I get a kick out of always asking that silly question. So don't mind me if you're watching this playback. Okay. Sometimes you just got to toot your own horn. Beep, beep. All right. So remember, for the people that are watching this playback or just sliding through and you just fell across this video, when you are dealing with terms, and terms are simply just a variable. If you have a variable that is by itself, the coefficient or the number that goes with that is the number 1. Okay. So the coefficient is the number that's in front of the term. So because we don't have a term here, that doesn't mean it would be 0. Okay. So X or any letter, it doesn't necessarily have to be X, it could be N, Q, be any letter of the alphabet. X by itself, coefficient is 1. If X is negative, the coefficient, as Mr. Felina just said, is -1. Okay. So with that being said, what is my y-intercept?
2.
2. Do, 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 do. All right, so 2 is my y-intercept. So remember, it is already in y equals mx plus b. So that's the good news. We don't have to change anything, do anything, out of the ordinary. My coefficient here is a -1 because my variable is negative. Okay, and then I have 2 as my y-intercept. Okay, so far so good, y'all.
Yes.
All right, slide on over here to number 6 again. All right, so again, the good news is it's already in the format that we want. So tell me what my slope is for number 6.
4.
4
Number
is my y-intercept.
Intercept. Oh yeah. 3/4.
Yep, -3/4, but I'll take it.
-3/4.
-3/4.
Okay, all right. So far, so good, y'all. Y'all doing real good with this thing now. You're making me look good in these streets. Still making me look good in these streets, and I appreciate it. All right. Now I think we have 4 more to do, and then we're going to graph some of these. So that way, like I said, you all will have the practice in, and it'll all make sense. All right. So now number 7 and number 8, I can go ahead and tell you right now, this is not in y equals mx plus b format. It is not. So that means we're going to have to manipulate the equation so that we can isolate our variable y. Okay. Now, who remembers what's the first thing that I need to do as it relates to number 7?
We will try to put the y on its own.
Yes, we're trying to get the y by itself, but before we get the y to be by itself, we have to move some stuff around. So which variable do I move around, the x or the y?
The x.
Yes, I'm moving my x to the right-hand side. And how do I do that? Well, this 5x is positive, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you
So,
subtract it from both sides?
yes,
No.
sir.
Okay.
Yep. Now remember, you are subtracting, but you're really not, if that makes any kind of sense. And I know it sounds real weird, but remember, you're not going to subtract -12 from 5x, because if you do that, you're going to think, well, oh, my answer is -17x, and that is incorrect. Remember, -12 is a number and 5x is a term. So those are unlike terms. You cannot add or subtract unlike terms. Okay, so that's why you see I have it written off to the side, and that's going to let me know that I cannot add or subtract. If that was, an addition sign, I couldn't add, but because we have a subtraction sign, that lets me know that I cannot subtract those. Okay. Now, as always, if we need a refresher on like terms, just please let me know and I can slide that in there for next week sometime. All right. So if I do all of that, that's going to cancel out. So what am I going to be left with? I know I'm going to need some more room. Let me just, all right. So I'm going to be left with what? Six y is equal
So -12.
5x minus 12. Very good, Ms. Philomena. All right. So now we are almost at the y equals mx plus b format.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem is we have to do something else. So what is it that we have to do?
We move the X.
Yeah, we moved the X already.
Okay.
So
Then
we did that.
what we do at this side, we do at the other side. Divide by 6.
Yes. So we're going to divide by 6.
6.
Okay, because remember, the we want the letter Y to be by itself.
Everything by 6.
Yes. And I know that number looks really, really bad. But I didn't do it. All right. So once I do this, I'm going to be left. Those sixes cancel out, and I'm going to be left with Y is equal to what?
Plus 5. -5 over 6.
Yes.
X -2.
Yes. Okay. So remember, fractions are nothing but division problems. So when we see a fraction, we automatically think we have to divide. And in essence, you're absolutely correct. But in this instance, remember, we want to keep our fractions intact. So you would literally not divide -5 into 6, because you're going to get -0.833. And remember, we do not want decimals as our answer. We want either whole numbers that are positive or negative, or we want fractions that are positive or negative. Decimals are a no-no. Not the work of the Lord. We don't want that. All right. And then here we have the -12 divided by 6. Okay, so -12 divided by 6 leaves us with a -2. So this is just simply reinforcing those integers again. You cannot get away from them. So with that being said, now we can identify our slope and the y-intercept. So what is the slope?
The slope -5 6.
Slope is -5/6. And Mr.
5/6.
McFadden, what is my y-intercept?
-2.
Well, thank you, Miss Philomena. All right. So far so good with that problem. Do we see how we came up with our answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. How about you, Mr. McFadden? You doing okay?
Yes.
Okay. And excuse me, I had to drink me some water. Y'all know I'm still doing my water thing. It's not a gallon. It's probably about a cup, 2 cups a day now. So y'all pray for me. Got to get back into it. All right. So for number 8, really. So for number 8, we're going to be doing the same thing that we did with number 7. All right. So the first thing we have to do is what? I have to move which variable? Yes. How am I going to do that?
We move it to the right and after 3.
Yes.
Am
But
I
how do I do it? How do I move it? I have to do something. So you're right, Miss Philomena. I do move my X to the right-hand side,
it
but
becomes
how? Huh?
negative.
Yes. So remember, I'm going to do the opposite of whatever this X is. So because this
Okay.
X,
Opposite.
yes. So because this X is positive, I now have to make it a negative. Okay. So when I do that, I am going to be left with 3y. Right? 3y equals -x plus 3. All right. And what's next? What do I do next?
So we make y to be on its own by using 3 to divide.
Yes. So I'm going to divide everything. When I say everything, I mean everything by 3. Of course, when I do that, that cancels out, and I am left with y is equal to what?
3.
3.
Oh
Y
no,
is equal.
no, oh no. Y equal 1. Cause you dividing, right?
I am dividing.
Yeah. 3 into 1. 3 3 going to 3 one time.
Well,
It'll
this
be
one.
it'll be
So,
X. X.
so
No.
this So this is what I'm going to do. So for this part, Mr. McFadden, the Y-intercept, you are absolutely correct. So my Y-intercept is going to be 1. So you were absolutely correct with that. However, I still need my slope.
Mm-hmm.
So what is my slope?
1.
So my slope is just 1?
-1.
Okay. So
Okay.
my slope is -1 over 3x.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So remember, when we have and I'm not going to scroll back up. But remember, when we have a negative, well, maybe I do need to scroll back up. It's kind of important. There we go. Oh, I don't have to scroll. Okay. So remember, when we have negative, um, a negative variable, I was going to say negative exponent. When we have a negative variable or a negative letter, okay, our number that's in front of it is invincible. We can't see it. So that means it's going to be 1. If x is positive or if any variable is positive and it stands alone, your coefficient is going to be 1. It's always going to be 1. It will never ever be 0. It will always be 1. If your letter or if your variable is negative, such as negative x, that your coefficient is going to be -1. So when we come back down here, because I have negative x over 3, that reminds me, oh, well, I have a coefficient of -1. So I have -1 over 3x. Now, as I always tell you all, if it helps you to remember that, you can go ahead, and I hope I can do it without messing it up. You can put a -1 in front, or 1 in front of your variable if it stands by itself. Okay, to remind you and let you know that there is a number there, but it's just invincible. Does that make sense? I guess it does make sense. Nobody's saying anything. So, all right. So, how are we feeling? We feel okay?
No.
Mm.
No. Oh, okay. So, well, Mr. McFadden, do you feel okay?
Now let's do a few more.
Okay. You only got 2 more left, y'all. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
if you want me to send you another sheet, I have no problems with doing that as well.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do not worry. I will do just that. Oh, wonderful. That's number 10 is wonderful. Oh, I can't wait to do number 10. All right. So now we have another opportunity for numbers 9 and 10 to do what we just did for number 8. All right. So the first thing is I need to put my X on the right hand side. How do I do this?
You
So
divide, divide.
no, I'm not going to divide just yet. I'm focusing on the letter X. So I have a question: is X positive or negative?
It's a
Positive.
negative.
You move it.
When I move it, it's going to be positive, but right now it is negative. So
Yeah.
again, remember, if you have a whatever your X value is, you're going to make it the opposite when you move it to the right side. So because this X is negative, I am going to add an X. So it's now going to be positive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So remember, These are unlike terms. So I cannot say negative 16 plus x is equal to negative 16x. That is wrong. Do not do that. Okay, don't be that guy or girl. Don't do that. Okay. Now, now that I've done this, I have, and this is going to cancel out. I have 4y. Okay. Uh-oh, let me. I didn't realize that I was at the end. Let me. Okay, move this up. I have 4y is equal to x.
Negative 4.
Well, not yet. I'm glad y'all are ahead of the curve, though. I really am. All right. So now, Mr. McFadden, I divide. So do you see why I have to divide now?
Mm,
And if you don't see it, just say, no, Miss Hampton, I don't see why I have to divide right now.
Cause you trying to get the Y by itself correct.
Exactly. Well, that's the reason why I would divide in the second step. I wouldn't divide in the first step because that would just be a mess. And I don't want that mess for you. I don't. So I'm going to divide everything. Everything by 4. Ooh, triple 4. If you play the lotto, play that. All right. So my final answer is going to be what? Y is equal to what?
1.
Not 1. Remember, you told me that I had to divide everything by 4.
4,
Maybe if
yeah.
I put this right here, that would help.
X over 4. Negative.
Well, well, what is x over 4? What is that? Remember, if x is by itself, what is the coefficient or the number that's in front of it?
1.
1. So when I put the 1 right here, doesn't that look like 1/4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So that is so that is my so that's the number I will put 1/4, and you always put your x because that's important. All right. So I have 1/4 x, and what is negative 16 divided by 4, Miss Philomena? You said negative
Negative
4.
4.
All right, excellent. So now, Miss
Negative 4.
Madden,
Mm-hmm.
what is my slope for number 9?
The slope is gonna be the -4.
No, my slope,
No.
the my no my
One
y
over
intercept
4.
is -4.
Okay, okay.
So remember, the slope is the fraction or the number
Um,
that is next to the letter x.
yeah, the 1/4.
Yep, the 1/4. All right. No worries, y'all are still doing good. So no worries. All right. And my y-intercept is -4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So now we have, oh, number 10 is fabulous. I love number 10. I love it to pieces. All right. Oh, yeah. I love number 10. Okay. So tell me what I would have to do for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Remove the X to
Yes.
the right sign.
But how? That's the question. You're right. I am going to move it, but how?
But you gotta divide it.
You into dividing today, I see, Mr. McFadden, and I'm not mad about it. I want you to keep that same spirit of division. We're not gonna do it just yet.
Okay.
And, well, quiet is kept. We're not even gonna do it in this problem at all.
Mm.
But I'll explain why momentarily. So remember, is this x positive or negative?
It's
Positive.
positive.
So because the x is positive, I have to do the opposite, which is negative. Okay.
Can't see the screen.
Oh, you can't see it?
Nah, it came back up.
Oh, well, I ain't even doing nothing this time. It wasn't even me. Normally it is me, but it's not me this time. Okay. So remember, 12 and negative x are unlike terms. Okay. So because they're unlike terms, I cannot subtract them. So my answer on that side would not be 11x, or it wouldn't be negative 12x. It wouldn't be anything of the sort. Those are separate terms, and you cannot do anything with them. All right. So when I do that, of course, I cancel that out. I am left. This is so good. I'm left with negative y is equal to negative x plus 12. Is this my final answer? Mm. So is negative y equal to negative x plus 12? Is that my final answer? Hello from the other side. Can y'all hear me?
I don't know that one.
Well, no, it's a yes or no question. Is this equation right here, negative y equal to negative x plus 12? Is that in the y equals mx plus b format? So in other words, oh Lord Jesus, that's ugly. In other words, does this match? That's what I'm asking.
Mm. No,
No.
Why
cause
not?
you cause you don't have a X. You don't have number for the X.
I don't have to have a number for the x. Remember, x can be by itself. That's fine. But I have another problem, and I want to see if you all can figure that problem out. All right, that's better. I don't know why possessed me to write like that. All right. I want you to look very carefully at y, and I want you to listen to what I'm saying. Y is equal to mx plus b. Negative y is equal to negative x plus 12. Do these two match? Do they look alike? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so that's good. We recognize that they do not look alike. The question is, why do they not look alike? Because they are not alike.
One is negative y and one is y.
And we want a positive y. So thank you, Miss Philomena. Let me type this in. I'm going to type something in for y'all. And you're going to thank me for it. Uh, really? Ugh, this thing does not want me to be great. Ugh, okay. All variables must be positive. You can never ever have a negative variable under no circumstances.
All variables must.
So I don't know if I can. Yeah, I ain't gonna be okay. So I'll just leave that right there. But all variables must be positive. The problem is we have a negative y. We cannot have a negative y right here. We can't have it. So what do I need to do to change my negative to a positive? What do I need to do?
Divide on both sides.
No, not divide. I'm gonna start calling you Mr. Division. Because you are into division today, and I'm not mad about it. Let's be clear. I'm not mad about it. I'm really not. But I think I know why. But so the good news is in this instance, Mr. McFadden, we are not dividing. do not have to divide anything. So that's the good news of that. However, I do need to multiply. The question is, what do I need to multiply? That's the question. And for those of you that are watching the playback and are asking, why do I need to multiply? I'm going to tell you. All right.
You're gonna what you gonna multiply um the
I'm going
12?
to multiply everything by -1.
Okay.
So for the people that's watching this playback, the reason why, and for y'all too, the reason why I am multiplying by -1 is because of my answer. All variables must be positive. Now, when I say all variables must be positive, you can't have a negative variable equaling something. So, for example, if you were writing a problem out, okay, and your answer was negative, I'll say -x equals 16. You cannot have a negative variable. There's no such thing as a negative variable. Okay. So, in order for you to make your variable positive, you have to multiply by -1. Because remember, a negative times a negative equals a what?
Equal to positive.
Yes. So, that's the reason why I am multiplying by this -1. Now, when I do this, oh, I'm running out of room, Lord. Merge. Let me go ahead and okay. I'm gonna go ahead and erase this y equals mx plus b because we really don't need it anymore. So that way I can have room to write my answer. Now, when I multiply by -1, and I mean everything by -1, my final answer is going to be what? Y. A negative times a negative is a positive.
Mm-hmm.
-1 times -x is equal to what?
X.
X. Thank you, Miss Philomena. And a negative times a positive gives me a what?
12.
-12, but I'll take it. All right. Now I'm going to rewrite this y equals mx plus b. Now it matches. It is now in the correct format. So, what is my slope for number 10? We had to go through all of this to find this number.
1.
1. Excellent job, Miss Philomena. And what is my slope?
-12.
-12. Come on now. Okay. All right. Now eh, I have about 9-10 minutes with y'all. Um, so what I
8 minutes.
want what I want to do very quickly, I want to show you how to graph one of these. I'm only gonna have time to graph one. But before I do that, would you all like for me to email you another sheet like this?
Yes, mom.
Okay. Well, I will be sure to do that. So, once class is over, give me about an hour, probably less than that, to email you the sheets. And also, the sheets do come with answers as well. Okay. So when I email you the sheets, there are two sheets. You have the practice sheet and you have the answer sheet. So when you finish, you can check your own answers.
Okay.
See, I have to let y'all do some of the work. Miss Hampton can't do everything. I mean, I know y'all love me and I love y'all right on back, but I can't do everything. So that's what I'll be providing to you all. I'll be providing another sheet like this, and of course, you are more than welcome, and I encourage you to watch the playback. All right. So, with all of that being said, before I go to the graph, are there any questions? I'm going to take it as no. Nobody's saying anything. Okay. All right. Whoop. Now I'm going to have to make this bigger. I mean, smaller. Zoom out. Zoom out. All right. Here we go. All right. So this is yesterday. So I will just keep all of these notes here. These notes are from yesterday. So if you are watching the playback, this is the same information that I used on yesterday. All right. So now this is what I'm going to do. Let me move all this stuff. I'm gonna put it. All right. Uh, okay. Um. Okay. Wasn't there a problem on there that said it was y is equal to, was it 2x minus 2? What number was that? Oh, that was number 3. Wonderful. Okay. So this is what you're going to do. What is my y-intercept for number 3? Hello from the other side of the computer screen. Can y'all hear me? I just be wanting to make sure that y'all can hear me because I know sometimes the sound be going in and out or it can be funny. So can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let me repeat the question. What is the
Yes.
y? What is the y-intercept for number 3?
Number 3. -2.
Okay. So -2. So I am going to, matter of fact, let me go ahead and make this big because I can't even see it. All right. I don't want to make it too big, but all right. I think that actually might be good. I think. All right. So you just told me, Miss Philomena, that my y-intercept was -2, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what you're going to do is the first thing you have to do is you want to graph your y-intercept. Okay. So because my y-intercept is -2, I am going to draw a little dot at this -2. Because remember, and the answer is just right here for you. The y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis, and it is also the y-coordinate. So if I were to write this as a coordinate, it would be 0, -2. Okay. So do you all see the correlation between the y-coordinate and the y-intercept? Okay, there we go. Oh, that went away.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now my second question is, what is my slope again for number 3?
2.
2. So what you're going to do now to graph this line from this point, from 0 to, I am going to go, y'all remember rise over run? Does that sound familiar to y'all?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up to 1, 2, because 2 was positive. Okay. And then I'm going to go over 1. Okay. Now I can keep doing this if I chose to, but remember, a a line only needs 2 dots or 2 points. But just for the sake of, I guess, making my line straight, I'll go up again. I'm going to go up 1, 2, and over 1. Okay. So this is now my line. And it's not straight, so don't judge me. Okay. So that is my line, and that is how I graph the line for number 3. So that is what that would look like. That is what the line would look like, I should say. Okay. So remember, the first thing you would do is you would and I'll go ahead and type this out because we actually getting ready to run out of time. So I'm going to go ahead and type this very, very quickly. Let me go ahead and zoom out. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put it here, I guess. Yeah, I'll put it here. Okay. How to graph a linear equation. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is you want to plot plot the point of the y-intercept. Okay. So that's what we did. We plotted the point of the y-intercept. And that's my alarm. Let me know that it's time to be out. All right. And step 2. From that point, use rise over run, which is also slope. So rise over run is just another way of explaining slope. From that point, use rise over run, graph your second coordinate. Okay. And then you connect the dots. So that's really all you're doing. You're plotting points and connecting dots. That's really all you're doing. Okay, so I guess I'll go ahead and yeah, I'll go ahead and do it right there. All right. All right. So if we need some more practice on graphing, I can do that Monday. But I really want to get into these multiplying binomials and quadratic formula and all that fun stuff. Not to say that slope isn't fun, but I like the other stuff too. So if you all would like, y'all just let me know. We can do more practice on graphing linear equations. I can guarantee you're gonna get about 1 or 2 that's gonna be on the test, if not 3. And I want to make sure that you all are really good with plotting your coordinates correctly, plotting points on a coordinate graph, and making sure you know the difference between the y-intercept and the slope. Okay.
All right.
So how do you think you all did today?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, I did do a good job. You really did. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you another sheet, just like the one that I sent you all for practice. Okay. So I'm just asking you, give me about an hour or less. Um, and I'll be sure to have that for you. And it will also have the answer key. So once you finish, then you can, check your answers. And if you have any questions over those, then I'll be more than happy to go over that. Probably the first, maybe, I don't know, try to do the first 15 minutes on Monday. Okay.
All right.
All right. So let me stop this screen share. All right. We got C and P in the building. Call it Paul. All right. So again, I thank you all so very much for joining me on today. The second week of virtual classes went really well, but this is the first week that we use this new platform, Google Meet, and I think it went really well. As always, we got to work out the kinks and work out all the extra stuff. But overall, I think we did an excellent job, and I want to encourage you all to keep studying, keep taking notes. I have a playlist that you are more than welcome to look at for any extra assistance. And if you have any questions, you know where to reach me. I'm not going nowhere. Where can I go? So again, I love the both of you. I pray that you all enjoy your weekend. Have a blessed, day. Y'all stay safe. And we'll be back here at 11 o'clock on Monday.
All right.
Thank you.
You
Bye. God
have a
bless.
good weekend, y'all.
All right. You too.
Yeah, bye bye.
All right.